Hello, I'm Chaplain Shon Neyland, Command Chaplain of AFMC, and I'm excited about our topic this quarter. We will be talking about social fitness. Today I have two special guests with me, and I'm excited to have Master Sergeant Ivan Abudo, Superintendent, Command, Section Administration, and Ms. Candy Lohner from A1 Manpower Personnel and Services Directorate. Welcome to both of you. Today we're going to be talking about comprehensive airman fitness and specifically zooming in on social fitness. Social fitness is defined as the ability to engage in healthy social networks that promote overall well-being and optimal performance. Master Sergeant Abudo, we'll start with you. Given your vast yet different experiences throughout your career, how important are social connections to the health of a unit or workplace?
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about this, Chaplain Neyland. I think it is extremely important to be socially connected throughout our units. Not only to be working in an environment that fosters mission accomplishment, but more importantly, it's important because it improves people's lives. I cannot simply think of anyone that has done anything throughout the entire life on their own. We depend greatly on the connections and the interactions that we have with others in order to accomplish certain things. So yes, sir, I think it's extremely important to be socially connected, and also more importantly, the frequency of those connections also play a critical part, both individually and collectively within the workplace.
Wow, that's a great answer, because I agree with you 100% that the frequency, having that person in your life, that one that you can rely on, is so important. Ms. Lohner, the more connected one is to others in their social networks, from my experience I've found, the stronger and more resilient one is likely to become. For instance, if you were to pick up a pencil or even 5 pencils, you could probably snap that very easily. However, if you were to try the same with a bundle of pencils, let's say a dozen or more, the task becomes much tougher. In other words, the more connectedness, the stronger the bond and strength to withstand the pressures of life and the ability to accomplish the mission. Ms. Lohner, have you ever seen the effectiveness of social fitness personally, where you saw how it made a difference in the life of an airman or a civilian?
Oh, I most certainly can. I'd like to share a personal story that I went through myself. About a year ago, I lost my father. And it was a very hard time, and he was in the hospital for 6 months, and I was back and forth to the hospital, going from nursing home to hospital, and just very stressful. And in the end, I did lose my father. But the connection that I had with work helped me get through it.
Wow.
Because my coworkers helped pick up the slack at work. My supervisor stepped in and asked for extensions when I needed them. I had that connection at work, and it made it easy for me to go through those trying months. And especially at the end when we did lay my father to rest.
Right.
You know, it would have been very hard to get up and go to work, because you easily want to say, I'm going to take another day off because I just can't do it. But I knew that I had to wake up, put 2 feet on the ground, take a deep breath, and go to work, because my work family, they were there, they were going to help me, and they did get me through it. So it's very important to have that connection.
Wow, thank you for sharing. That is an amazing story of social connectedness and the effectiveness that even in the workplace, something that was very personal, and you were able to continue in work because of those co-workers.
Absolutely.
Thank you. When we face difficulties, there may be a sense of isolation, thinking and feeling as though I don't belong to a unit or community. Even though some may come to work every day or even have a family or friends at home, they may still feel isolated or alone. When we don't feel as if we belong, it can be a result of internal feelings rather than the external circumstances. Second, many feel as if they are a burden to society or those around them, and thus they disconnect or unplug from the network of life. Master Sergeant Nabudo, what would you say to someone who may be struggling to fit in, or feeling like they're unplugged, or they're isolating themselves, or even feeling if they were a burden to those around them?
Great question, Chaplain. And I will say, first and foremost, that suicide is never the answer. And if I may, I would like to share a personal story. Early in my career, professionally, everything was going very well. I was out in the community, I was involved within my unit, but personally there was a lot of turmoil. There was a struggle with my marital life, and then shortly thereafter, I lost my brother.
Wow.
So, although I never really showed any of the typical signs that people that are have conceptions of committing suicide will exhibit, I was always in time. I did try to commit suicide at that point. Wow. And if it wasn't because of the great connections that I have within my workplace, both friends that I had, both military and civilian, without even them knowing what was going on in my life, they reached out. They were able to be there.
If I may interrupt you, are you saying that the signs were not present when you attempted suicide?
When I was at work. Although whenever I hit home, everything was chaotic.
Right.
Everything was chaos. So the only reason my coworkers got to know that I attempted suicide was because there was one time that I didn't show up to work on time, and that kind of raised the flag, because I was never late.
But your emphasis was, and that's amazing that they were paying attention, but your emphasis was, as I'm understanding it, that they were reaching out to you during this difficult time, the loss of your brother, the loss of a spouse in the sense of a divorce, yet they didn't know you were thinking of suicide, but they made a difference in your life because they were consistently, as you said earlier, reaching out to you.
Correct, sir.
Wow.
Correct.
That is amazing. And I don't know who's listening right now and what you may be going through, but these are powerful stories of how we can make a difference in each other's lives by just getting involved, by caring. So thank you so much both for sharing these personal stories. Social fitness is about having a clear mission and purpose, or answering the question, what is my role in the world, or in my job, or in my family? Social fitness is also about trustworthy individuals, which both of you have talked about in sharing about your father and sharing about your personal story. Ms. Lohner, the Air Force talks about being connected and having a sense of belongingness. How important is trust and synergy in building that social connectedness?
Trust is really important. You've got to have that trust to start building that social connection. You need to be able to trust the people that you work with. I mean, let's face it, work is home away from home. And if we don't have that trust and we're not building that relationship, we're not going to be able to share and understand each other. So that's why it's important that we have that. We need to share, because as much as you want to share things about your life, your family, your pets, a vacation that you're about to go to, others want to do the same. So we all have to work together to build that trust, to have that social connection, and to be able to have that where you get up and you go to work and it's good because you've got that family there.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Lohner. That is excellent advice for our listeners. The benefits of healthy social connections has been linked to improved lifestyles overall. In addition, the bonds that we build help guard us from feelings of isolation, or that we may be a burden to those around us. The more connected we are socially, the more likely we are to find sources of strength to help us during difficult periods in our lives. Master Sergeant Nabuto, we'll start with you and give you some final thoughts to share with our audience. How did that story end when you went through the divorce, you were thinking about suicide, they intervened, friends intervened, your co-workers intervened, they checked on you, they gave you a sense of connection. You didn't, thank goodness, take those drastic steps to end your life. But how does that story end?
Well, at this point in my life, this story ended, or it continues to be a complete blessing. I am happily remarried to an amazing woman, and I have 2 beautiful children and another one on the way. So I cannot think of the many things, experiences, and beautiful moments that I've shared with them that I could have missed, and all the suffering that I would have put my family through just because I was thinking of my situation only at that time. I will say to those going through that situation that that is never the answer, that seeking help is a sign of strength. And also to those around, to never underestimate the power of human interaction, because a simple smile, a simple hello can go a long way for those that are going through a difficult situation.
Wow, that's so powerful. Thank you for sharing. And what good news to have that family, and you keep moving, you survived it, and you went through, and now you're thriving. All right, Ms. Lohner, final comments from you for our listening audience.
I'd like to think that social connection is simply one's ability to go in and say, "Good morning, how are you?" And by the response that you receive is how you'll take that conversation. Because, you know, you may not know, but you could be making a difference in someone's life that day.
Thank you both for sharing those moving stories throughout today's segment. I want to say some final things to our listening audience. This has been a great discussion with our guest today. Again, thank you, Master Sergeant Nabuto, Ms. Lohner, for your outstanding stories today. Remember, social fitness is developed when we recognize that each of us play a critical role in mission accomplishment. Each of us has a purpose and is needed to complete the mission, and our roles are critical to the defense of our nation. I encourage you to recognize that you are uniquely gifted to make a difference every day. The more we can connect to others socially, the greater our resilience and the stronger our mission accomplishment. The empirical evidence shows that social bonding and connection is a force multiplier in our personal and professional lives. Determine today that you will plug in socially and make a difference. Get connected and stay connected. Thank you.